Welcome to the KuyAte Can We Talk podcast. Today's topic, what is the point of church? We have Ray Arata and Carlo Celestial here with us today. Carlo, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you are in life here.
I'm Carlo. I'm 18. I go to University of Maryland. And, I play music.
Okay, cool. So Carlo is just sort of entering the young adult phase. Yeah, the realm of it. So it will also be interesting to see your point of view going from, like a Christian school and then going to a non-Christian school and then having church as part of your life too. So we'll get into all that. First question, growing up, what were you taught about the purpose of the church and what did church feel like to you?
Do you want to start?
I think you should start.
Okay, I can start. So all I can remember when I thought about my background and how I grew up, I feel like church was always more like a solemn place where no fun was allowed. Like as a kid, like, don't run into church, don't eat in the pew, don't talk too loud, be quiet, stuff like that. It was not very like an uplifting experience per se, but it was like something that everyone just knew how to do. Like you just did it. It was a status quo. It wasn't really that big of a deal to me since I grew up in the church and was born into it. It was nothing brand new. Yeah.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, no, definitely like same for me. I grew up kind of we kind of grew up in the same kind of more conservative
Traditional.
like that, and it was always like go to church on Saturday or you're bad or something like that.
Yeah.
You're making the devil happy.
And then obviously like running in the sanctuary as a kid probably like
Yep.
Yeah, that was the
probably not
Running,
probably not the best thing,
yelling.
but definitely I guess for kids having just been a kid it's like you definitely go just cause I guess the sermons wouldn't as deeply connect with us, especially with our generation. We're more of a music, I guess, oriented type of generation, which we'll get
music
into later.
Entertainment and stuff like that.
It's definitely easy to get lost, like especially as like a kid with like an attention span of a goldfish. Like the 30-minute sermons would just like not connect with us. So
we need the sermons in like real format,
yeah,
or like short format.
Stop.
I feel like that would be.
Yeah, like. Yeah, but definitely as a kid, you're there a lot for, I guess you could say, fellowship, like with other kids. You're playing with them and you're like talking with them.
I go to church to hang out with my friends and stuff like that. Oh, for the potluck.
Yeah.
We don't hear a kid say, I go to church because the sermons are so good.
Yeah.
It's like my closest friends are from church. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Christian and Peeps, if you're watching this, they're in Andrews. But I met them from church. Like,
Yeah.
That's what kids do.
Yeah, so for me, mine was kind of different because my parents were like, I'm technically a PK, pastor's kid, for those of you who don't know what that is.
You're out there doing the stuff.
Yeah, so I was like, even when I was like a little kid, I felt like, I don't ever remember a point in church where I was just kind of passively sitting there. I feel like I was always doing something. And then especially in high school, like when I started to become pianist for the church, I was like in everything. But it got to the point that by the time, like before I got to college, I was burnt out from going to church because church was church was basically my job almost on Saturday.
Since you were young.
Yeah. So I was there like all the time doing something. And so I never really got to enjoy the sort of fellowship time or just be able to like sit and like listen and stuff. And so I'm not used to sitting and listening to the sermon, which is really weird.
Like you never had a full program where you just sat in the congregation.
Yeah.
You
like
were always up and about.
It feels like, I'm pretty sure there was more times. I wasn't, especially when I was younger, I wasn't pianist every Sabbath. But like, it feels like I could count the number of times that I actually just sat in church. But then it was hard for me to appreciate the service because I'd be like, oh, someone's late. Oh, wait, they need to do this first. Like,
I've seen the backstage stuff too. It's like a whole production. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why, like, I loved it because I loved being part of like creating stuff and everything. But I don't remember it being like a solemn place, I guess.
It was hectic for you.
Yeah, it was always
Just
hectic.
because you were like part of the background, like the behind the scenes.
Right, yeah.
Get it all to work.
Yeah. That was it. So, kind of transitioning. So, that's kind of growing up, right?
Yeah.
When I got to college, I was like, I don't even want to go to church.
No, because
So
we
we
burnt
had-
out.
yeah.
And we were born into it too. So
Yeah. And I'm like, I already know everything they're going to talk about anyways. So, we had the saying in Andrews, PMC is the church there. But, like, if our parents asked us if we went to church, we'd be like, yeah, we went to PMC. And all of us knew that it meant pillow mattress comforter, meaning we stayed in bed. Yeah,
funny,
it was
funny.
great. Things, you know.
Yep.
We're unloading our secrets now. But there was, like, a reason behind it. It wasn't just, like, I don't really care anymore. I don't think church is for me. It wasn't that. It was, like,
It was like a chore going to church.
Yeah.
Bathing and then brushing your teeth, eating early breakfast, getting dressed, picking out an outfit to wear. There were so many like unnecessary like sub stuff to get ready in the list. Like going to church was just like, oh, I'm exhausted now. I don't know.
Yeah, so then we played around. So at our campus, we had like 60 different churches.
Yep.
And there was like, there's the formal traditional PMC, and then we had ones where you could just dress in your pajamas and come in. And then we had,
That one's PMC,
yeah.
right?
No, that was not
Definitely
PMC.
not PMC.
Yeah, and then we had like cultural churches too. There was like the French church, there was a black church, there was a Filipino church, there was a Korean church. Like there was everything, and everybody had their own different style. And some people would you know they expect you to dress up more. Other people are like So what? I guess you're kind of new in that, and yours is a little different because you don't live on campus. But what is it like? Do you ever discuss church with friends? Do you bring your friends to church? What is that like?
But even being in a secular university too.
Oh,
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. I don't even know where to start. Where?
It's okay.
So high school. Well, let's start high school.
Yeah.
So I went to Spencerville. Spencerville's very like
Oh.
yeah, just
You both went to
Christ-oriented.
Spencerville.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very much religion was everywhere, of course, because it was an Adventist academy.
It's like
Yeah.
it's like incorporated into like everything you do.
Yeah.
And like I guess also being involved like in praise team a lot was like how I found out like music was like my way of connecting. And so going into college, of course I did do a lot of music in high school, but that's something that I grew up with and I have fun with it. So there are some times where you get like really burnt out from doing music, of course, but like I personally found it really fun. It's also like coming into college, like meeting a lot more like musicians. There's also like gives you a way to connect. Going to public university from Spencerville, from private SDA school, it's weird. Culture shock, like definitely like big culture shock first semester. Just because I had like a bunch of friends that would like after classes on Friday, like people would be like, yo, like we'll go out and stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm like going home. I'm gonna sleep.
That's my mood, whether it's Adventist or not. Like, guys, can we just end?
and then there's also like on Saturday, because like and we'll go into like picking friends like later too,
Yeah.
like advice for the younger, but
Yeah.
like the friends that I've made, especially like just they're really hard workers. And like I like it's really good that I surrounded myself with people that work so hard to like achieve a certain goal, just because that helps like the whole atmosphere of the friend group.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
they also work so hard they don't know when to take a break. And Saturdays, like when I'm at church, they'll spend the whole day just doing like work, and they'll be like tired all throughout the week. And so with that, I have that a lot of them do know about church. Some of them are like from different religions, but recently we've all been going to church together. I took them yesterday, and they really like it. So
nice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Hello, we're back. We had a little bit of a camera malfunction, but we're gonna make it through. We're gonna finish this podcast. Anyways, so Carlo was sharing about how, his friends are like they're all super hard workers, and in their world, they work like the entire week versus you would like after Friday take a day off, go to sleep.
Take a rest
day and a half, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, day.
So do you feel like, I think it's something that we talked about a lot in college, that we looked forward to Sabbath because it was literally, like, on our perspective, it was an Adventist college, but it was literally a break from all the classes, all the homework and everything. So
it was never like, oh, it's the Sabbath, I'm going to be spiritually growing and stuff like that. It was more like, yes, no classes, no tests or something like that. I can relax and give myself an excuse to do nothing.
Right. Yeah. And again, coming from the whole burned out thing in high school, I was like absolutely doing nothing. But the one thing I realized I missed from church was, again, I was in the background kind of helping out, or I was worried about how everything was flowing. So I never got that sort of spiritual enrichment that you get from, church. You're supposed to like come together and uplift each other, pray for each other, talk about things, spiritual things that help you grow spiritually. Yeah. Yes. So for me, it was only in college that I got to slow down and actually look for, well, I am not getting any spiritual enrichment at all from anywhere. Even less from church, because to me, church was just a job, even though I didn't have any part in the service there at Andrews. And so I got to the point where one of our friends started a small Friday night Vespers Bible study kind of thing. Yeah. And we would do that we started like 8, 9, because there's the campus Vespers and stuff. But we just wanted to talk, and like that was the first time I felt like I was getting actual spiritual enrichment that I realized was missing from going to church. I don't know if you guys ever had that moment of where, I think you said music was where you realized you had your connection. How about you, Rare?
I think what I loved about Student Vespers was that a lot of the praise songs were things that I can relate with, the lyrics. Also for me, it was a big part of music. Like, big part, thanks to that, was music. And I feel like if it wasn't for those types of songs, for example, if it was just like hymns or whatever, I'd be like, okay, it's just hymns. We've all heard of these before, But a big part for me being in college, it was like, yes, I was super burnt out because I was born into the church. And so church was just there. But to have that option where, oh, my parents aren't watching me. Sorry, mom and dad. My parents aren't watching me. Like, I have this option to like, skip church for like one day and get some extra sleep or whatever. Maybe put an excuse in, like, I'm going on a hike, I'm surrounding myself in nature and stuff like that.
Rebellious.
But rebellious. No, but I mean, like, seriously, like, it starts out small, right? After nature or whatever, maybe there's an excuse where, like, oh, I can go shopping and it's still doing nothing, relaxing and stuff like that. And then, oh, my friends invited me to this party or whatever, like this get-together lunch thing. And then, I don't know, there's like alcohol there or whatnot and some, and stuff like that. Yeah. And then it becomes more and more.
Yeah.
So I feel like that church was just in the back of my mind because it was such a prominent thing growing up where I was like, I'm just tired of it. And I feel like when you said earlier, like, I feel like I've heard all different types of sermons. Like, I've heard all the topics. Forgiveness, heard that. Redemption, heard that. Second coming, definitely heard that. Like, it was just, there was no new thing about church that made me like, oh, like enlightened me in a way. And yeah, I was younger then, and I'm still young now, but I mean like younger then, and I was like coming out of high school, and I had that rebellious side of me where I like maybe I don't need this right now. And so it was just like that. I don't know.
Yeah. And I found that whole work, we did a lot in college, and we were like super active in anything and just hanging out with friends and stuff. And so the days or the Sabbaths where I did my little PMC in bed, it didn't feel like I rested. Yeah. That was you kind of start to put the pieces together.
The secular rest.
Yeah.
It was very much secular rest.
Yeah, and so it didn't feel like, I felt like I worked through the weekend even though I was just in bed and resting and sleeping.
Because you see all these like movies like of like these college dramas or whatever, like they're working hard, studying hard, and they're like, oh, it's Friday night, Saturday night, oh, let's grab a beer or something like that, or oh, let's lay back and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like there was never like more growth. You can have mental growth, you can have physical growth, academic growth, but I feel like what this world needs right now is like more spiritual growth. It doesn't matter if you're Adventist or anything like that. Like if you're a different religion, then have that religious growth with your religion. I don't know.
Yeah. So this is where it kind of comes to the topic of, right? Like, what is the point of church? We went through all this. We figured out all this. Experiences, what we liked, what we didn't like. So what really is the point of church? What did you know growing up, Carlo, as like why do we go to church?
Going to church. Okay, like as a little kid, you go to church, so you get put on the not naughty list.
Yeah.
Like you don't die, and your parents, you kind of have to go because your parents go too, and you have like that motivation to go with your friends. You only go until like now. Like now for me it's like, because I don't always go to the church that my parents go to anymore. And I found my own kind of way of connecting that because the church that they go to definitely does a lot of, like, they do a lot of talking, and I guess there's people that do connect a lot when other people are talking. They can kind of relate to what they're talking about. But when I guess for me it's just, again, music. So I guess more the contemporary style now, right, is a lot of music incorporated into the service. And so I just do tend to lean towards those churches more. And it's just, for me, it's a reset. It's like a reset button for the week.
Sometimes people find that uplifting from like music and stuff like that. Their style of music they like to listen.
Yeah, and it's like I can tell, like, people, like my friends, the ones that I've brought to church, like one of them was crying, like and they haven't gone to church in like I don't know how long, but they didn't really have a reason to go to church until they met me. And so I was, like, come over, we'll do some, try it out and see how you like it. And they really like it, so coming along every week.
That's good.
It's their reset button too now, I guess.
So this is the contemporary church that you're talking about?
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, I think it's true that a lot of each generation kind of has their way, Even in the Bible, they literally would just sit at the edge of a river, and someone would be talking and they would share, and it was mostly talking. Yeah, they probably sang too, there was music everywhere. But to the people that they needed to reach, talking and sort of preaching was the way to reach people at that point, because they didn't even know anything about this. Right? In general, church is supposed to be a place of worship. It doesn't need to be in a building, right? It could just be the body of believers. Church is supposed to be a place of worship where you can teach and fellowship, a place where all the evangelism kind of starts from again, and where you can serve your church community and the community around you. And so where does, the young adults kind of fit in this church, right? We can provide these sort of more contemporary services to be able to connect with youth. But then how far do you go contemporary-wise, where is it still church, or you're just trying to get these people to come in?
Yeah.
Right? There's that balance of it, which I think, honestly, our church is just kind of struggling with in general, like the Adventist church, of what to do with the young adults these days. I personally, I think because I saw contemporary music kind of go in the extreme opposite, where that's all they did, and then there was no, I don't know, enrichment, personally from my point of view. I actually appreciated the deeper talks, like the Bible study style, not like the way sort of traditional Bible study, but like where we got to question things and talk about this and like, why is this connected? And it wasn't with pastors or anything, it was just us, you know, people of the same age. I appreciated that more, maybe because I'm more of like, that's what I grew up and where I can really connect to. And I think that's also the issue of the church now, is we have sort of my generation, your generation mixed in, that all still need to have this place where they can grow spiritually. But how do you combine? How do you address?
Because
how do you make a
catering
church?
to different generations, and that's the tough part.
Yeah, like where does the sort of compromising of finding a way to make it connectable?
That's what I wonder, though.
Is that a word?
Because back then, like for example, Ellen G. White's time, they were saying, "Oh, we're doing something contemporary." Contemporary just means the present day.
Yeah.
And so contemporary can be for each generation. What they did back when they're our age was their contemporary style, and then now what we're bringing in, they're doing something more contemporary or something like I don't know. It's just a matter of not what's contemporary. It's more so like what's people's style of worship that makes them want to go to church, or what's the style church that they want to go to.
Yeah.
And
But is the goal to go to church?
well, church is just a building, right? But what we're looking for when we go to a physical church is the fellowship behind it. And I really feel like fellowship is very key, because honestly, if I was left alone in a very, very secular country or whatever, there was no church nearby, no friends or family to uplift me spiritually, it's going to be so easy to just like fit in with everybody else and just be part of the world and just keep swimming in that stream and never trying to see where's another direction I could go. Because it's so easy to be part of the world, but it's so much harder to, I guess, like in the Bible say, be the salt of the earth and stand out, stuff like that.
Yeah. Sorry,
Do
were
you
you say something?
Okay. Loss.
You're just taking it all in.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I think that's like a good point on the whole contemporary thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, every single generation
Kinda
is doing
contemporary
something new, We're doing online media now. That's like
who
a whole
would say
new...
that was happening 100 years ago? Like,
Yeah. No, but I think it's a good point on the fellowship part. If you guys have watched the Blue Zone documentary, I haven't fully watched it, but I always hear stuff about it. Yeah, like the people there's like 3 areas. But like the people, one of the biggest reasons why they have or have a live longer, one of the big reasons is their community. And I think that's one of the biggest thing that the church provides, is that community where you meet your closest friends, where you get to talk about your week, you get to talk about the spiritual things. I think what's just kind of happened, especially after COVID, is church has become very passive, right? And we all went to live streams, we all went to, there are only a few people who go on the top, in front, and
oh my gosh,
like
when churches
speak.
started open up again, I was like, Mommy, Daddy, I think I could just stay home. I'll just watch the live stream.
Yeah.
It was so
Yes.
bad. It was
Yeah.
so bad.
No, it was a thing. And now it's still an option. Like
Right.
almost every single church has a live stream
yeah.
now, But again, like you miss the fellowship, the being able to connect with each other. And it's kind of really hard to ask about things like, oh, well, why does the Bible say that over a live stream? You can't do that. And even now, like we have our prayer meeting and our Vespers over Zoom, which is great. Zoom is great because you can do a bunch. It's not the same.
It's not the same as in
It's
person.
not the same.
And then, yeah, continue.
Oh, is Vesper still on Zoom?
Yeah.
I thought they did it.
I think that was only for December, right?
Yeah, it was for December when we had the musical program. Yeah. I would love, like, literally, because, you know, like the Bible study group that we did back in college was Friday nights. That's how I would love to spend Friday nights. But I feel like I really can't, despite being in the digital generation, I would rather be in person
Yeah, no, me too.
talking like this on Friday nights. You know,
I always thought, for example, I'm an educator, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't teach school virtually. It just does not work.
No.
Students do not follow.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's the same way for church.
Mm-hmm.
You can't spiritually grow by yourself in your home remotely.
Mm-hmm.
You have to come to a physical place, not because it's the place itself, but what's inside, which is community. And I feel like with school, I can compare it with church because students just don't come to school just to learn. That's a big part of it. Like, don't get me wrong, get good grades, students. But, but like, they also come because, oh, my friend is there. Oh, my favorite teacher's there, me. And then like, they want to go to school because that's their community. That's their immediate circle. And I feel like church should be the same way, but it could also be negative because students sometimes skip school because of a bully that stops them from going to school.
Mm-hmm.
Church can be the same way. There might be a bully in church that's giving you that negative
Drama.
spiritual experience,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what you can get hurt from.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it can happen in any place, really,
Yeah.
right? But I think kind of, I guess we're sort of in this recovery phase post-COVID of what is it like to be active in the church again?
Yeah, it was like maybe like a year and a half, right, of strict laws or rules, regulations, yeah.
We were so passive. We were used to just playing, and we just had to listen, and that was it. No discussion about the topic.
Everyone
How
was
did
on
it make you
mute.
feel? Yeah.
No cameras.
Everyone
yeah.
was on mute. It was a camera. Like, we were so disconnected
Yeah.
from it that it didn't. I feel like I haven't spiritually grown, especially from church where I'm supposed to be.
It's
I feel
very
like I haven't
much
grown.
stagnant right
Yeah.
now for me.
In the past, like, 3 years,
Yeah.
which is really disheartening.
I think it grew when I dropped out because back in Andrews, I didn't consider myself part of the church, Christian at all. It was very hard.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I came back, I started going back, and then there was an increase. So I was like, oh, I'm going for friends, family, community, and then trying to learn more about Jesus and stuff like that. But now it's like a plateau. I rose a little bit, and now it's stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. Do you feel like where do you feel like is the place where you have the most spiritual growth for each of you?
Whoa.
Where?
Yeah, where, when, where do you feel like you even grow, or are you?
Yeah.
I'm at a loss.
Well, I mean, but
Well,
that's
go
a
back to
real
music.
answer right now.
It's a valid question.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say church directly because church is just a building, whatever. But when I go into church, I look forward to the song service or the praise service, praise team, whatever. And I feel like I get my most uplifting just listening to music, like good Christian music,
Yeah.
good messages.
So that's uplifting, right?
Yeah.
But do you grow spiritually from
Oh,
it?
spiritually
Where are
growing.
you getting challenged, I guess is my other question.
Oh my
Where are you getting
God.
challenged about your faith, about why you believe in things? Go.
For me at least, I'm gonna go back to college because like that's literally what I'm in right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm still going through that like culture shock phase. But I'm like, a lot of people ask, like, yeah, why can't you do anything on Saturday? Like I've gotten that so many times, and they're like, yeah, you go to church on Saturday, and sometimes I have like some deep conversation with like other, people with like other religions, because, but I definitely think that's like a really good test, for me at least, and I'm lost. Wait.
It's okay.
Can you like take over? real
No,
quick?
I wanted to agree with you a little bit on the having friends asking you to hang out on Saturdays and the weekends and stuff like that. But I was like, oh, I'm going to church. And then you're just like, and then the response is like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, sure, another time then. I'm like, oh, probably not because it's every Saturday.
Yeah.
No, but it's a relate like when you really question yourself, why am I giving an excuse I can't go because I'm going to church? Why am I going to church? Why? Like,
Exactly.
why am I even going?
Yeah.
And also like recently, cause like my easy way out, because a lot of my friends are like part of that like military program, and my easy way out is just say like Desmond Doss. That's think of Desmond Doss. That's my easy way out. But I think it also like it helps me a lot. It helps me grow, just cause it takes like a better understanding than just like knowing Desmond Doss to know why I believe in what I believe in, and to be able to explain that to them.
Yeah. And I think that's where church is supposed to come in and be able to help you understand why you believe what you believe. You know, and I feel like we don't have that time to. Sabbath school is great for discussion,
it's amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
You have that's something that our church is kind of getting back into, but we missed it because it was very passive. Someone lectured about the lesson and you didn't get to discuss, well, this is what I dealt with. How do I approach this?
Yeah.
And like talk to people who have some experience and ask them, what did we do with this? You know? And I think that's kind of why this is such a good topic. It's very personal. Like, what is the point of church to you? But also, it should be something that, like, our church should be providing a place. It should be something that our church encourages. That's not the word. What word am I looking for? Facilitates. Yeah, that's the word.
Wait, how do you spell facilitate?
See? No, just kidding. But it should be a place where we can facilitate spiritual growth, I think. That's sort of my takeaway from all my experiences and what I was searching for from any church that I went to, not just like my home church. But I was searching for a place that would facilitate those conversations, those hard topics that we can all talk about, but even the older people don't know how to talk about some of those harder topics, But that's what this place should be. We're supposed to be able to talk to each other, edify, pray for each other, teach one another through our experiences. I mean, literally like testimonies and how people have gone through experiences are one of the most powerful ways that you can
we all contribute uniquely to the conversation. And I feel like people are afraid to have conversations because we are too unique. And I feel like the more diverse a church is, the more opportunity there is to actually grow together because you're butting heads, but also shaking hands at the end. And you're finding common ground and lifting each other up with your own unique way. Yeah.
There's a lot of, that community that you build from all these different backgrounds is so important. You make lasting friendships. You create connections that, you have someone that you can come to when you have a prayer, when you're going through some stressful things, when you're enjoying, when you want to party and celebrate like something big that's happened. It literally, church gives you that community. Yeah. And so I think after all of our backsliding and whatnot, I mean, you really do have to go through that experience. I think, like you,
I think
Carlo,
every young adult should.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
What is the point of church? You can read the Bible. The Bible says literally to...
Your parents can give you everything. In the beginning, but when you start getting your memory card activated, your own consciousness built, you really try to question, like, why did my parents teach me this? Why do I believe this? What am I doing this for?
Yeah. And if anything, if you're not questioning it, then you're really at a sort of a passive state. Yeah. Or when someone questions you and you just say, because the Bible says so. Like, right.
There's no uplifting missionary work there.
Yeah.
The person's kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And I think, honestly, if people were to ask me now why I go to church, I would tell them the story of I didn't go for wherever, and like all like my backstory and how I got there. And I think that speaks more volume and can relate to them more than you saying I go to the church because that's what it says in the Bible. You know,
definitely.
Yeah. So what would your guys' advice be, kind of like from your personal background of your journey through what the point of church is? What's kind of your advice to the younger generation of how to deal with church?
Deal with church.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah.
Find out. I wouldn't say like early, but it would be good early. But do take that time to try to find out what worship style you like best. Because if you're going to church, and I guess maybe that church doesn't have the style that you prefer, like say you like lose attention span like really quick, I guess it's gonna make that a lot harder for you just connect, especially earlier on. It's going to I think it could be a factor to that might drive it. It is a factor that drives especially youth away from church just because they feel
There's
like
no
it doesn't
connection.
suit them, and
There's no connection.
they're not really out there to try finding different styles. It's just that style that they've been presented, and they say they don't really like it, so they're like, I don't like church. I guess that's why people leave.
Yeah.
And again, like, fellowship is like really important. Like, when you guys were talking about it, it's like you can't learn from, like, it's really hard to learn from a screen, and even harder to grow spiritually, like, through a screen. And it's like, remind me of that verse. It says like iron sharpens iron. Like you can't sharpen iron with nothing. So
That's true. No, that's true. Yeah.
I feel like for me, we're all broken. Some people can admit it. Some people hide behind something else to not bring it up. But reality is that all Christians are broken. And I feel like what I view church right now is such a cliche, but like it's in the song, I think. But like church is a hospital. And I feel like for the people that were injured by the world. And people just want to come in and find a cure that's beyond this world, which is supposed to be Jesus Christ. And the church can also be a community where we find that common ground and lift each other up, because with that common knowledge that we're all broken and that we're all trying to learn. So in that sense, let us all just be children of God, and just like children, let us learn together then.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things, kind of summing up both of your points, is you need to find a church that provides you the community that encourages, facilitates, challenges your spiritual life so that you can grow and be able to serve and share your story with others, right? It's always, you know, your community is going to change. Maybe right now, like back then, my style of church that I liked and grew from is very different to what I look for now. You know, it's going to change as you start to learn more and more about what you want to have for your spiritual life. And that's good. That means you're not just stagnant. You're not just kind of passively listening to these things. But that community that you get from the church is going to be the most important part, because that's how you're going to make a connection, right? Through the people that are around you, and that strengthens your connection with God, too. God literally wanted us to have a place. Well, not necessarily a place, but like God wanted us to be with others. That's a big part of the church, is literally to strengthen each other. And that's part of God's ideal church.
Jesus
right?
didn't come to this world and just did remote teaching. like he didn't stay in his home in Bethlehem and just like stayed put, you know?
Yeah.
He was walking around always with a group of people, if not a crowd. you know?
Yeah. So I guess our sort of general advice is find that community that you can connect with, that you can, where you will be challenged spiritually, and a place that facilitates your spiritual growth.
And like, yeah, one more thing is like, with the facilitating thing, also, you're gonna meet a lot of people in your life, and not everyone is going to be Seventh-day Adventist.
Yep.
No one, like, not everyone's going to be Christian for that matter. So it's also important to, especially because I know a lot of people, like, in the church system, they go to public school. And so you have to find, like, it is important to find friends that are willing to keep an open mind and be able to, like, converse that kind of stuff with you. Just because that is also like a really great way that challenges you spiritually, and it helps you kind of question everything so that you're always growing.
Right. It's all about those connections that you're making, connections between the people around you and the connection you make with God, literally.
I always tell my students, if you don't ask questions, you're not growing. So ask me
No,
questions.
yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, no,
you
it's
don't
true.
learn by just giving answers all the time.
Yeah, that's true. Alrighty, well, thank you for joining our conversation. I'm sure we'll talk more about church. And
While the cameras are off, we'll probably still be talking. Yeah.
yeah. But Rayer, if you don't mind giving our closing prayer.
Of course. All right, bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this absolutely nice discussion. Thank you that we can share our point of views and different experiences that have made us the Christians that we are today. Help us find the true meaning of what it is, why we're going to church, and not just going because it's a job or a chore. And help us to find meaning in that so that we can find you in the process. And help us to uplift each other and be kind to each other. In just name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Thank you all for joining us for this week's episode of KuyAte, Can We Talk?
We hope that you're spiritually blessed, and we would love for you to share this episode with someone.
Remember, the conversation does not stop in this video. Please list down any additional thoughts that you might have in the comment section.
And if you have any other topics that you want us to discuss, go ahead and comment those down below as well. We will be posting every first and third Monday, and we hope to see you next time.
Bye.